Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily Reads, and today I have for you my October pile of possibilities. Before I get into all of that, I need to kind of give you some warnings. One, I've been sick or allergies, I don't know. I'm allergic to grass, trees, and pollen, and I live here in the Midwest. So this time of year is just pretty awful for me, and I've been pretty sick and out of it. Like I I left work on Friday afternoon and then I didn't leave my house until Tuesday morning when I went back to work. Called off sick on Monday. So I did all the things. I rested. I drank all sorts of tea and water and Sprite and took a COVID test just to make sure I didn't have COVID. It came back negative, but my voice for sure is hoarse. As the day progressed, my voice has gone hoarse. Um, but I wanted to film this because I have my fall sweater on. I've got my pumpkin earrings in. And I'm like, okay, I'm alert. I'm motivated. Another thing I need to point out, it is finally fall weather. And so I get to turn off my air conditioning, which also is not helping the allergies, but like I need fresh air. Uh, but there's kids outside playing, so you might occasionally hear them yelling. And I live by a busy street, so occasionally I will get traffic sounds or like sirens, but it's too nice to close the windows. So, at any rate, this is for sure a pile of possibilities. Here's why. September, I fell hard into a reading slump. It is September 24th, and I've finished 2 books this month, and they aren't even massively chunky books. Like, one was 180 pages. The other was like 400 something, like 450. Yeah. Normally by this point in time, I have read 6 to 8 books. I'm halfway through another one. I'm halfway through another one. I for sure will finish at least one more book. But I fell hard into a reading slump. And then sick. So this has to be for sure just a pile of possibilities because I need to read whatever strikes my mood and fancy. So what I'm doing this month, I am doing the TBR Harvest, and that's hosted by Leandra over at the TBR Zero, and she has an announcement video. So I totally recommend you go check that video out because she will explain it far better than I do. But she's got a few ways that you can play this game. So first you can do Escape the Haunted House. And so she's got this amazing game board that she designed. And then the prompts and the way that you can navigate through the board. She also has a TBR Harvest game board that's titled Escape the Chord Maze. And then as you read, you move like your piece along the board with the different prompts, and you try to collect all the cats too, either by like landing on that prompt or like combining that prompt with another prompt. And then you make your way through the chord maze. I toyed with doing these 2 boards, and I decided not to do them because I was like, okay, if I'm doing a board game, like I would think that I would have to move in order. And since reading has just been, I've been on the struggle bus with reading, I didn't want to like pick a book and then like lock myself into a book and really struggle to read it, or like DNF it and then try to find another book to fit the prompt. So I needed something with a little bit more flexibility. So I'm going to do, she's got this Trick or Treat TBR Harvest, or Trick or Treat TBR. So it's just a bunch of different prompts. And then you can choose to either pick one book per prompt or take one book and see if it will fulfill multiple prompts. So you can combine prompts if you need or want to, and collect as many autumn items as possible before Halloween night. So the reason why I'm choosing to do this is there's more flexibility. And if a book isn't working for me, I'll easily be able to put it down and then pick up another book. I am doing one book, one prompt, just because that's my brain. It's going to be easier for me to organize it if I do it that way. My brain will function better that way. So she designed all these really cute game boards. Another thing that she really cutely designed is she has these bookmarks. So there's Escape the Haunted House. Then on the back it says TBR Harvest. And then she's got the Trick or Treat TBR. And then the back on all of them say the same thing. And then she's got Escape the Corn Maze. And then the cat, I like how on this one it has the cats because you're collecting cats on the game board. And then again, TBR. These are nice and thick. And then also she included like a cute ghost sticker, which I'm like, I don't know yet where I want to put that ghost sticker, but it's super cute. And the packaging was fantastic. So I also highly recommend checking out her link to order some bookmarks. At any rate, let's get started on what I'm going to be picking up and reading from. Some of these, like, I don't have a book for hot drink on the cover. I couldn't find one, and that's okay because I've got plenty of books to choose from. There's another one. The next prompt is new release. So a 2024 publication, and I don't have that book to show you, but I have pre-ordered Air by Sabaa Tahir. I'm so looking forward to this book. It comes out October 1st. As soon as I get it in my hands, I will be reading it. I loved the tetralogy, An Ember in the Ashes. Actually, I've read the first two books a few times. The third and fourth book I've only read like once. So I do need to reread that series. But Air is a companion novel. I don't know if it's the start of a new series. It is set in the same world as An Ember in the Ashes, and I believe it picks up with like the next generation or two down the line. So cannot wait for Air to come out. Then there is TBR Backlist. So sorry, please excuse me. And I'm going to read This Spells Love, and it came out. I have it sitting over there. I suppose I could reach it. Hold on. So This Spells Love by Kate Robb, and I don't know why, like the premise of it and how it sounds, like it should have been an October release in my mind. This came out in November of last year. But this is about like a girl, from what I understand, who, following a breakup, she's kind of bitter about it, and she wants to wipe the memory of that. I think she wants she wants to erase her ex from her memory, and in doing so, she erases like other people's memories or other people from her memory. I'm not quite sure exactly how it plays out. So I figured this would be a good light read if I need something to just, like, I don't want to stop reading, but if I get stuck reading, I have a good light read. Plus, I'm like 3 books away from meeting my, like, the book of the month challenge. So I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find 3 book of the month books that I could read before the end of the year. Then the next prompt is sweet word in the title. I don't have a book with a sweet word in the title. So I'm assuming like it could be like candy or cookie, or so if you're a big cozy mystery fan, I think that would be a very easy prompt to fulfill. The next prompt is mysterious read. And so I really want to read The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. I loved The Maid, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series. And I know that there's a third book that's coming out later this year, I believe, and it's Christmas themed. So I gotta stay on track with that series. The next prompt is Vampires in the Story, and I do need to read Fledgling by Octavia E. Butler. This also is part of the 52 book club, because you have to read a book published by Hachette, or Hachette, I don't know how you pronounce it. I've heard Hachette from someone, so I was like, maybe I'm mispronouncing it. But at any rate, this is about Shori, who looks to be like a teenage girl, but she's actually a 53-year-old vampire. She's found in the woods and, of course, has a vast hunger. And I know this isn't one of her better books, but I really loved... My brain just had a brain fart. Kindred. I loved Kindred. Parable of the Sower or Parable of the Talents, whichever one came first, I thought was okay. And I read Paternoster, and was like, bleh. So, I don't know. I want to love Octavia E. Butler. I just am wondering if I can appreciate her. Like I said, I loved Kindred. Hopefully that will work, but... Okay, then the next prompt is Cozy Book, and I think this just looks so cozy, and that's Garlic and the Vampire, and this is a middle grade graphic novel by Bree Paulson about Garlic, who is in the garden. She just has a lot of anxiety and fears, and the garden, like the carrots and the other vegetables in the garden, nominate her to go check out this new neighbor that has moved in that they all think is a vampire. And I've heard really cute things, and this came as a recommendation from someone, from Kat, over, I think her channel title is Kat's Novels Adventures, but she recommended this, and it just looks so adorable. So I'm looking forward to reading that. I'm trying to pick a lot of vampire reads because, October. Then the next prompt is Witchy Vibes. That would be The Blackbird Oracle by Deborah Harkness. I do really want to read this. This is set several years after the events of the All Souls trilogy, again following Diana and Matthew. Diana is a witch, and Matthew is a vampire. I'm continuing with my vampire vibes. So, for sure, this is high priority for me to get to. Along with Garlic and the Vampire, I think will be an easy, light read. Then the next book is Cat on the Cover. So, where I'm at I'm reading through the Lillian Jackson Braun, The Cat Who series. So I'm on the fourth book, which is The Cat Who Saw Red, and my cover does not have a cat on the cover. So I can't technically use that book for that prompt, because I was like, surely the Cat Who series will have a cat on the cover. It does not. And I don't want to read out of order. Like, I could, but I don't want to. The next prompt is Pumpkin on the Cover. I don't have a book with pumpkin on the cover. Then the next prompt is Romantic Subplot. And that would be Sense and Second Degree Murder by Tears of Price. And this is a retelling of Sense and Sensibility as a young adult murder mystery story. So I'm excited to read this. And I'm so excited because Cajun Peach, I've met her through Discord, and mostly I originally met her through sprints on Tiffany's channel at the Beach Bum Bookworm. So I met her through that, And so she gifted this book to me and this lovely bookmark so for my birthday in September. So I want to get to this book sooner rather than later, because anytime someone gifts me when they out of the goodness of their heart, I just want to make sure I prioritize that. Then the next prompt is supernatural book. I mean, for sure I could double up on that, because I could use Garlic and the Vampire. I could use the Blackbird Oracle. I could use some other books that I plan on reading. So I probably will double up on that prompt, because that would be an easy double up one. Then the next book is Found Family. I think I could probably double up the mystery guest for that one. The next prompt takes place in autumn. This book I will start hopefully in October. Probably will not finish it in October. But I want to make sure I finish this in November for sure. This is part of the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. One of the prompts is read a book. Like, you have to read a book that takes place in the season that it takes place in. So read a summer book in the summer, read an autumn book in the autumn, etc. So that would be 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I'm not a horror fan, but I've heard this is not horror, I would say. This is like revisionist history and portal fantasy, from what I understand. So basically, our main character, he discovers this portal back to 1963, and it is his task to try to prevent the assassination of JFK. So, yeah, I've heard really fantastic things, and I feel like this is kind of the book that, even if you're not a horror fan, even if you're not like a Stephen King fan, that like people will read this book and love this book. So that one is probably a book that I'll just take, like, what I'll do to read that book is I'll figure out, like, okay, if I start this October 1st and I want to read it by the end of November, how many pages do I have to read in a day? And like, I'll take the page count and divide by the number of days that I have to read it, and then figure out that's my daily page count. Then the next one is, the next prompt is a grumpy character. And I'm assuming if you're going to try to become a Dark Lord, you're going to be a grumpy character. So that would be How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying by Django Wexler. And even if you're not being grumpy as a Dark Lord, the main character in this, who is Davy, they've been trying to kill the Dark Lord. And every single time they try to kill the Dark Lord wins. So I would assume that you become kind of grumpy because your plans keep getting thwarted. So then the next prompt is a reread. Well, I'm slowly rereading through Assassin's Apprentice. I don't know if I'll finish it in September. So if I finish it in October, I will just count it for October. I'm about halfway through, so I feel like that's okay to count it. Plus, this isn't a competitive readathon as far as I'm aware, so I feel like that's fair game. Then the next prompt is book to film, and I really do want to prioritize this for October. One, because it for sure fits October. For sure fits the October vibes, but also it could easily fit in for Victober. Now, a lot of people in October, they read Victorian literature, and that would be Bram Stoker's Dracula. I don't think I really need to say anything more about that other than this is Victorian literature. It is told epistolary style, so the story is told through letters. There was a very famous film adaptation. Gosh, did it come out in the 90s? Late 90s, early 2000s, starring Gary Oldman and Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder, I want to say, was in it. I remember, like, I wasn't allowed to see it because it was so gross. So hopefully the book is toned down a little bit. Um, Another book that I want to read for Victober, if I can squeeze it in, I don't know if I'll be able to, is uh, A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. Um, my father was a big Sherlock Holmes fan. So big, in fact, that he was part of a group called the Southdowner's. And I don't know if they were local to the south suburbs of Chicago or if it's like a nationwide or worldwide organization. I honestly don't know. But this organization that he was part of called the Southdowner's, they met once a month and they talked about all things Sherlock Holmes. Like they read Sherlock Holmes stories and then they read like Sherlock Holmes inspired stories and discussed them. So I need to read. Like my father gave me a 2-book bound complete works of Sherlock Holmes, or the complete stories of Sherlock Holmes, and so I do need to read them at some point in time. And my father passed away in October of 2012, so I thought that would be a perfect thing to read in October to remember him by. And if not in October, then at least maybe in January, because that was also when he was born. So we shall see if I get to that in October. I'm not going to push it if I don't, because there's always January. Then the next prompt is a veteran or a repeat author. So I'm interpreting that as like someone I've read before. Dawnshard by Brandon Sanderson. I was on the struggle bus with this. So I read like the first couple of chapters and then I stopped reading because I fell hard into a slump. And because we're picking up and getting more information about side characters in the Stormlight Archive. And the events of this story take place between Oathbringer and Rhythm of War. So yes, I need to read this before Rhythm of War, but I was just like, oh man, I want to get back to like Dalinar and Shallan and Adolin and Kaladin, and it doesn't follow them. So I think that was one of the reasons why I was kind of struggling, in addition to just being on the struggle bus with reading. Then the next prompt is a historical setting. This is probably like this next book is probably my most random book on my TBR. And this is the book that like I've tried a few times to read it. I've read like 2 pages and stopped. So I don't think I really gave it a good valiant effort, because usually it was like I'm trying to go to sleep, I need something to read, and I read like 2 pages and then fall asleep. So I have not given it a good fair shot. But this is also a book that if it's not grabbing me quickly, it's gonna be a hard DNF, because it's been on my shelf for like a year and a half, 2 years now. And like the premise of it is kind of wild. So that would be The Vampire Who Loved Me by Teresa Medeiros. And this is a historical romance with vampires. So it's about a woman who, when she was 17, she saves the life of a vampire. And then now I think he's coming back into her life. So, there's a step back there. So, like I said, if it's not grabbing me after a couple of chapters, we just need to DNF it and move it on out. And then the last is a fairy tale reimagining. And I really like the fact that this also has a title that is very autumnal, and that is A Sorceress Comes to Call by Teen Kingfisher. This is retelling of the Goose Girl. I've never read the Goose Girl, so I don't know what that will be like. So maybe I'll read the Goose Girl at some point in time too. But if I read that one and I read the other 2 Book of the Month Club books, then I will have completed the Book of the Month challenge for the year. So So I do have a lot of possibilities. No way can I read all of these books. It's just not possible. So my priorities are get a start on 11/22/63, read Garlic and the Vampire, because I know for sure that will just be an easy peasy book to read because it's a graphic novel. Read my book of the month. I don't know. We shall see what my, like, they're all like calling to me as priorities, but let me know in the comments down below what you think should be a priority. Oh, Sense and Second Degree Murder. That's another priority. But let me know in the comments below. What are you reading for October? Are you partaking in any readathons? What do you think I should prioritize? And as always, please like and subscribe and hit the notification button. It helps the channel grow. I would love to grow in numbers because I love interacting with you all. Bye.